So, what comes to your mind when you hear the word, I forgot the clicker. Can someone bring it over to me? It's on the table over there. Okay, so I know my presentation, I will start without the clicker, but let's have a conversation. So, innovations, any ideas? Future, good. Anything else? What? Tech. Probably quantum computing, or delegating everything, all the boring tasks to AI agents. I will show you the innovations we had in Ukraine, in the center of Europe, not recently, during the winter time. This is a brick on a gas stove, which can be heated and can be used as a heater during the times when your crazy neighbor hits the power stations, heating plants, and in the middle of harsh winter, you don't just have electricity and heating. This is another innovation by one of my friends. She is heating on a camper a croissant for breakfast. This is another innovation by another friend of mine with a headlamp. She is trying to prepare dinner. That was... It doesn't work. So we still need innovations. It doesn't work. Who can help me with the clicker? I can go on with my presentation, but I think that we need a different one. Someone is helping me, right? So that was the winter we all experienced. Outside, there was the temperature 20 degrees below zero, and the crews of workers fixed the grid in very harsh conditions, in heavy snow, with frost weather, and even the Christmas tree became a symbol, a powerful communication symbol. This tree is in the center of Kiev, near a cafe, and it's all decorated with the uniform of workers who were saving power grids during those attacks. And just this organization had sad statistics that over 128 workers were killed during fixing the grid, because Russia uses the tactic of double hit when it hits the same place after the work brigade arrives. The whole world used the word for it, weaponizing winter. We use a different word, which is called coldicide, which is genocide with cold. And weaponizing winter was all over the headlines. I don't know how closely you follow the agenda, but we Ukrainians experienced all the coldicide on our skin, literally. This is another picture of innovation in Ukraine. When I was on my way to Riga, I asked my friends for pictures from their phone galleries to show how we survived this winter. And when you see that melting ice, it's actually one of my friends who was, just imagine, who was melting snow to flush a toilet because water pumps didn't work when there is no electricity. Another picture is my neighbor who lives in the same block of flats. She is wearing a hat while going to bed, because in our apartments it was 8 degrees above zero, and outside it was 20 degrees below zero, and we had no heating. These maps are widely widely used and demonstrate the trajectories of drones and missiles targeted at peaceful Ukrainians sleeping at night. It may have this pattern, or this pattern, or this, but all of them aiming people having the same target: make Ukraine have an uncomfortable life and make Ukraine surrender. But this year, spring came, and I remember on the 1st of March, everybody was so excited that it's finally spring. And we celebrated spring in each social media post, saying we did survive. We survived winter because spring brings hope, spring brings warmth, and spring brings new hopes for the future. By the way, I figured out when I was getting ready for this presentation that all the items I bought for this stage performance were made in Kharkiv during this harsh winter. Kharkiv is an industrial city close to the border with Russia, and the thing is that city is heavily shelled days and nights, and still, under these harsh conditions, without electricity, with blackouts, without heating, this amazing stuff was made, and I think it deserves applause. Thank you. So, spring has come. Don't be illusioned that attacks are over. The white smoke in the picture shows how the heating plant was back to operations. I was celebrating it. It means that we will have heating. And another picture was by my sister, taken in another Ukrainian city, but actually it shows that still power grids are targets. I don't want to scare you, but ask yourself, are you prepared? Do you know what to do? And do you have a backup plan? You know, when Russia attacked Ukraine in February, I remember that me and a group of my fellow colleagues, PR people, set up a PR Army, a non-profit organization that helped united Ukrainians with international media. We understood that we need to help Ukraine be visible, be vocal, be heard, and be noticed. We made sure that we connect authorities, eyewitnesses, and experts to give interviews, to tell stories to the media. And back then, I realized how powerful communication can be. It's both a tool for attacking and a tool for defending. And this story I'm very proud of. That thanks to the efforts of the PR Army, that story was told in international media. And a Ukrainian volunteer was released from Russian captivity, meaning that due to the story exposure, person's life and dignity was at stake and was rescued. With the growing demand on telling stories of other companies, I set up an agency, a comms agency that works with companies, startups in the domain of security. These are cybersecurity, defense tech, and cognitive security. So the name of the agency is Calibrated. It's based in Ukraine, but we have international clients. There are multiple disputes whether PR is needed or forbidding for defense tech. I would suggest you do the following. Just try to replace the word PR with the word reputation. Does your company need reputation? Reputation walks in the room even before you enter it. PR helps you build trust and credibility in the eyes of your stakeholders, regulators, partners, clients, employees, you name it. PR is, as a business function, helps to create and manage trust signals of your company through partnerships, through certification, through awards, case-based narratives, through media coverage and thought leadership. This is how it works. Apart from it, we are living in the times where we witness dramatic change in media ecosystem. So media landscape has been shifted to AI, has been altered greatly. Just imagine these numbers. 50% of users don't go to Google to search information anymore. People go to AI. They ask questions. They search for information through AI models. And actually, this is where PR can help. Another picture, another digits show how greatly AI traffic grew. It grew by 527%. And in 2026 and beyond, PR is not just about media relations, it's about the whole digital ecosystem influence. Good communication is communicating the right message to the right audience through the right channel. So your PR strategy in 2026 should be built on visibility in AI. It should elevate experience, expertise, and thought leadership for AI too. And of course, you need to work with earned media, not just for vanity, but for bringing AI the highest trust signal. And remember, if you don't communicate and operate in information vacuum, someone can communicate for you. If you don't define your narrative, it can be defined for you and not necessarily by your allies. Think about it. And on this slide, I want you to show a picture of the greenhouse in Kyiv Botanic Garden. I went there for checking tropical plants. They experienced the harsh winter too. Those radiators on the background didn't work because of the multiple attacks, and the workers of the greenhouse did their best. They collected donations for buying generators, that they put some fires to keep plants warm, because they're tropical plants, they need warmth and high temperature. And when I showed up there in the beginning of spring, everything was in blossom. And I even took the picture of this fruit. Let this fruit be a metaphor that communications can bring fruit to your business. And hopefully, Ukraine will blossom again. This is my QR code of my LinkedIn page. I am Julia Patrick from Calibrated Agency, who came all the way from Kyiv, not having flights at our disposal. So this is it. Drop me a line. We'll have a conversation. Thank you so much.